So Temba qualifies as a doctor and he gets his first gig in a surgery. And he has to do this operation on this young man who just got injured on his left foot. At the end of the surgery, he walks into the ward and he says to him, I've got good news and bad news for you. And the young man smiles, but not too sure whether to smile fully. And Dr. Temba says, the good news is that the operation went exceptionally well. And the bad news, we cut off the wrong leg. Welcome to Talk with Rams. My name is Rams Mabote, and this is The Quickie. And my guest tonight on The Quickie is Marshall Makombe, founder of Moringa Studio. They produce this product from this herb that has become the most famous herb lately, called Moringa. They produce capsules, herbal salt, tea, and powder, and he's going to tell us more about it. And he's going to be talking to somebody who said a lot about all these products, and he's not sure whether this one is going to work. Yeah. Marshall, good evening, mate, and thank you for coming.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
There are two things that are trending in the world.
Right.
It's Forex trading and Moringa. What is Moringa?
That's a tricky one to associate us with Forex. Yeah. But Moringa is the most nutritious plant on earth. If you Google the most nutritious, that statement that I've just given you, the name that pops out is Moringa.
But why now? If this is most nutritious, I'm sure it didn't appear now. It has always been somewhere in our
for years. Yeah. It's actually something that's really known. If you ask about Gogo and them, they actually have all this knowledge.
Yeah.
We grew up at a time where they would make porridge and they just rub Moringa into our into our porridge. So now I think because of the information age, people are beginning to become more aware of, old sort of natural herbs that the old guys used to consume and all.
Consume for what? What does it do for me when I consume it?
It's actually a dietary supplement. So if you look at the fast-paced life we're living, everything is almost like everything on speed, everything on, and some of the foods we're eating, they're also processed.
Yeah.
So we're not getting enough nutrients that we need to get, So what it actually does, it supplements that diet. And the challenge we're facing is we cannot tell you to stop eating some of the foods that you're eating.
That's all we have available.
Yeah. And you've become a little bit addicted to that as well, although you might not admit it.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So what we decided to do is maybe the best way is to encourage people to supplement that.
So that would be like if I took this, which are your capsules.
Yes.
That would be something like taking multivitamins every day.
Exactly.
Is that something like that?
Exactly.
Yeah. But this is natural.
This is natural, and it also covers all the other nutrients. So Moringa, we're talking of more than 92 nutrients, 46 antioxidants, and 27 vitamins. So
is it only a specific part of the world, a specific part of this country? Could I plant it in my own backyard?
Yeah, you can, but the challenge is we've actually just arranged things and productized the whole process to a point where you get the right dosage, which is what's important. All you want to know is, am I getting the right nutrients, per day and each and every time, and how many times I need to because of your fast-paced life.
So look, Marshall, enough about Moringa. I can always Google that.
Yeah.
I want to know about the Moringa Studio, your business. This is why you're here. We profile businesses. I want to know, tell us about how you started, why you started, the whole story.
Yeah, so we actually started in 2016, and that was a year after I actually lost my sister, the one who comes before me, because she actually was fighting a chronic issue for almost 14 years. That's when I actually decided to I'm going to commit myself to more than a decade of doing something as well. Before a year after her passing, I actually bumped into Moringa. And some of the things that I realized that Moringa actually assists with is the stuff that she was struggling with. So I asked myself, okay, how many people could be going through this? And here's a very, I think, creative way that I could actually honor her legacy. She fought. So we need to actually fight, because some of the issues we're actually facing is out of the stuff we consume every day, the cancers that we're now having to struggle with, and all the other, high blood pressure, and it's a fast-paced life. So for me, that was the journey of, okay, let me actually get something that I can start. But at the time I was at work. I was working.
Yeah.
So this was almost like something that, your
side hustle.
A side hustle, and you're caught in between like, okay, where do I commit my focus? At work you get the salary, and on the side hustle it's something that whether it works or not, you're still going to push. So we dedicated some time in doing research to find out like how can we turn this into a business, because what I realized is there are a couple of companies that are starting in Europe and America, and they're billion-dollar companies.
Well, I was about to say, how do you do it when everybody's already doing it? Where are you going to find your differential?
Those are the opportunities, right? So that's a journey I actually thought to take. Like, you've now been caught with this amazing product. But what frustrated me was that I think in Africa, we're not really tapping into this. We're struggling with a lot of things. Over and above the health, we're unemployed. But this stuff is being grown in our backyards. So for me, that challenged me. Like, how can people in Europe and America see value in our own stuff? Can you believe that? Stuff that we grow.
I've seen a lot of that.
It's quite popular in Limpopo and stuff, but we are not utilizing that to benefit us. So we actually set out to actually change that narrative. How do we use this to actually empower ourselves? First of all, health-wise, how do we encourage each other to become healthy? But in the process as well, let's make money. How are we going to also contribute to solving the unemployment situation?
Who's the customer? Who are you selling to? Your customer?
Our customer is actually township entrepreneurs. That's why, we are actually collaborating with, the Alliance, the biggest movement in South Africa. Why? Because the journey that we actually walked after discovering this, you realize, you know what, this thing is way too big for me. I cannot do it on my own. But who can I collaborate with? Who can actually assist us with. So we actually started off with a couple of guys that we knew, people that we could trust. And because trust was almost the currency at the time, we didn't really need them to pump out money. So we gave them a couple of stock on credit, and we were managing to get a bit of feedback on what the customer is saying. That's when we actually realized that if these guys make money, we will make money. And they became our customers. So it's actually township entrepreneurs, because
so your customer is not the end user.
It's not the end user.
Okay.
That is the customer for the township entrepreneur. So it's almost like we are coming up with a way where each one got to focus on their role.
So as I speak to you, the guy who should be talking to you is a township entrepreneur who should be saying, somewhere in Mpumalanga Heaven, I think there's an opportunity for me to grow this with you, and they must call you.
Yes,
amazing.
Exactly.
Are the products the same? I mean, this is tea.
This is tea.
Is it the same as capsules? I mean,
it's actually
60 capsules. This is what, 2 a day?
Yes.
That's a month's supply.
That's a month's supply
tea?
that you get.
How much tea do I have? How often?
Tea, we drink tea every day. So you just drink it like tea.
Like any other tea?
Yes. 26 tea bags in this. And here's the trick. You get it from us for about 100 Rand. But the interesting thing is we've got 26 tea bags. And this is what we tell people. When you consume, always tell them not to throw it away. It's not a caffeine or, other herbal tea. This is nutrition. So you can put it in your porridge. You can put it in your food. You can also...
So the tea leaves can be used for...
Yes, exactly. After consuming the tea bag. Another interesting thing is, if you ask anyone, you get a packet of tea for 100 Rand. I'm talking to entrepreneurs now. The guys who could make money from this. A cup of tea goes for how much? Whether it's 10 Rand, 15, 25, depending on which market you're in. 26 cups gives you 260 from a packet of tea. That's really the opportunity that we're extending.
But the chances are the township entrepreneur sells to somebody who does not buy tea by the cup.
Right. That's a possibility, but we do find them here and there in street corners. Yes, so it's worth probably a try.
Probably a guy who runs a little canteen.
Canteen or something, so we could supplement it with that. But it's also something that even somebody who buys to consume over a month period as well. So it's almost like a model where you're not just stuck and you're pushing just one, way of selling just the tea.
I've always been interested in the model where you get distributors to distribute your product.
Right.
And not do it yourself, because it's not always necessary to do so.
Yeah, no.
Two last questions. Where do you manufacture this?
We actually manufacture here in Gauteng.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've got your own little factory where you do this
Yes,
stuff,
and
yeah.
we're actually sourcing from local farmers as well.
Yes.
Because it's almost like that value chain. It's important. We live in a space where, unemployment is almost like our biggest crisis. So we want to actually put that up as one of our core values to make sure that in the process, we are actually empowering people.
Marshall,
Yes.
I can tell you this much. Just based on my history,
Yeah.
there is somebody who's going to be watching us from Kuruman,
Nice.
somewhere in the Northern Cape.
Yeah.
And they're saying, here's my opportunity to
This
grow.
is mine.
How do they get hold of you?
They get hold of us on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
We've intentionally decided to focus on WhatsApp.
I hope it's not a WhatsApp
so that,
stock fair.
No, nothing close to that.
Yeah.
And it's actually to give them the right support as well, because we just don't want to dump products and say
Yes.
like, hey, here's the products or the best. We actually want to walk you through the entire process. Like what you were saying, who is the customer? How do you find them? What are the benefits? Is this really authentic? Does it work? And after time, we also tell them to try out the products, because if
Themselves,
it works for you, you sell it with confidence.
Yeah.
And people usually buy you, not really the
They
product.
buy the jockey, not
You
the
understand?
horse.
Yeah. That's what the saying says, right? So what we are trying to put together is a community of people who really believe in the product. And
So,
that way
the
we
WhatsApp
sell it.
number, Marshall?
It's 081
Yeah.
38 38
Uh-huh.
034.
034.
Yes.
That's where they find you.
That's where they find us. The operating hours will pop out. You also get a sense and idea of who we are, what we do.
Yeah.
And get in touch. Let's link up.
Great.
Tell us that I saw you on, Talk with
Talk with Rhymes, yes.
And
Exactly.
I heard, is this really true? Because it sounds probably too good to be true. Yeah.
Marshall Makombe, founder of Moringa Studio. He didn't say anything about erectile dysfunction or stuff like that. But these things do work for many things. Thank you very much for coming, mate.
It's a pleasure.
One of my pet subjects in business is franchising. Because I know a lot of people in franchising. I've seen a lot of people in franchising. I've always been interested in franchising. I also have my own issues about franchising. So in this feature tonight, we speak to Zweli Dlomo, who is founder, or at least co-founder and chief executive of Franchise Forum ZA. It's an organization that creates awareness around franchising in this country, and they're hoping to grow into the continent. Founded this year, so fairly new, but they've been in franchising for a while. Zweli, good evening, mate. Thank you for coming in.
Good evening, sir.
What is Franchising ZA?
Franchise Forum ZA is
Franchise Forum ZA.
Yes, it's an organization that was started, like you in your intro, was started this year, early this year, and registered about 3 months now. 3 months now, yes. But it was started by people, like you were saying, you've always had an interest. As a businessman myself, I've got an interest in few other businesses. So I've always had this keen interest into franchising space. And I thought, let me research a lot around this. And then fortunately, there was somebody that I knew, a close friend, who was also within the franchising, but working with franchisors and franchisees. And I thought, what a better way to start. Hence, as you introduced me as a co-founder, because we co-founded together with myself and Utulu Khatebe, who's the executive chairperson, Franchise Forums. We're just passionate. We just saw a lot of opportunities within the franchising space. We don't say that it's all smooth sailing. It has its own challenges, just like you said also. And we felt that, we're young, and I think there's a role, or at least a contribution that we can make within this space of franchising.
Like most people listening to us now, watching us, we know FASA.
Yes.
Why would there be a need for Franchise Forum ZA when there is FASA already? Where's the difference?
I think where we need to start, let's look at when FASA was established. I think it's a starting point. FASA has its own issues. I don't want to delve into them. But I feel the space is big enough for all of us to participate. I think the driving force was that, we're complaining about unemployment in this country, young people not participating, especially in the economy. We felt that this is an opportunity. Franchising is one of the vehicles that we can actually enable young people for simple reason. Franchising industry is one of the most successful. I think success rate is around 95% success rate. And
Really?
Yes,
That big?
yes. Anywhere between 90 to 95%.
I must be the most pessimistic person. I see so many franchises closing, and I think this thing doesn't work.
Believe you me, Abraham, there's opportunities. Like I said, it doesn't go without its own challenges,
Yeah.
but the success rate is very huge. And you look at, they are one of the biggest contributors into our GDP.
How big is this industry from a rents and cents point of view?
Research that was done, I think, in 2017. I think it contributes about 14% of the GDP, which, it's nearing 600 billion. 600 billion rents. So I think it was around 587, 590 billion rents per annum.
So as franchise forums are,
Yes.
what do you do for the franchisee, the franchisor? Why if I were a franchisee, why would I need to be a member? What is the benefit?
We create an awareness. Like I said on my intro, to say a lot of black people are not participating. Just going back to the stats, I think there's less than 10% of black ownership within the franchise industry.
I hear you, but I'm saying I'm now inside. I
Yes.
now own this franchise, and I'm not
Yes.
going to give anyone any publicity here.
Yes.
Why should I be a member of the forum? What would I get by being a member of it?
Through our partners, we've created or we're busy even right now creating more opportunities for potential franchisors, not only just franchisees, but also franchisors to say we're an alternative. If they're not happy with whoever the players, then franchise forums is an alternative for them to come through. For example, partnering with key players like from government in terms of funding. As you know, funding is one of the biggest issues. Working also with the financial people like your banking institutions, but more importantly, going even deeper in helping people getting upskilling. We're living right now, fourth industrial revolution is one of the things that is actually challenging a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we're bringing more partners who best understands the fourth industrial revolution in making sure that our members will definitely benefit a great deal by affiliating with us as franchise forum.
What are some of the things that people who get into franchising should understand about this space? That is not as glamorous as it looks from the outside.
First, you gotta have a big heart. You've gotta have a passion. You gotta have big dreams. But more importantly, we must never overlook upskilling, continuous upskilling. And if you work hard, if you sleep less, let me emphasize, if you spend you sleep less, like 2 hours, then you're gonna survive. But more importantly, you need to know your industry that you're venturing into.
I would have thought, Zweli, I would have thought that you would say to me, most importantly, you must have unencumbered cash. That's what we hear all the time. I try to come in and they say you need to have 5 million rands up front.
It's a very fair point that you make. There are a lot of people that have been in the franchise space for a very long time, but because of their background, lack thereof of the very same big bucks that you are talking about. What about them? Do you understand? They've got the know-how, they've got the experience. Some of them got even qualifications, but because of their background, they are unable to participate in the economy.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You understand? They're even managing the very same franchisee. You get my point. What do you then do about such people? So that is why, as Franchise Forum, we're also looking for such people to actually create an enabling environment for them to access those funds that they're unable to get into because they're frustrated. To start with, as you know, with our funding agencies,
They've got the skill, the experience, but they have no money to
they
come.
lack capital to participate. We've met some of them with a very watertight business plans, but at the end of the day, they're unable to get into because of whatever stringent.
Is there room for people who started their own gigs to franchise their own gigs? You know, there are people who are doing amazing stuff, and those things are not as big as the guys that we know, but they have potential. They're doing amazing things.
I'll maybe digress just a bit. In terms of education, that I think there's a report that says about almost 80% of our young people by the grade 4, they don't read to understand.
Exactly.
To understand. And I think we are aware that our government is spending so much into that space. And it's not only just government. If you look at corporate social investment, they're investing heavily into ECD. Yeah. So there are people out there with brilliant concept, So we are saying, we're inviting them to say, if you believe that you've got that idea that can actually revolutionize the education system, please, by all means, come to us and we'll help you facilitate all the key players that can help you to be able to participate in that space. We've got panel beaters in our communities. And we hear our government talking like your township economy and whatnot. And most people are afraid to even understand. In fact, not even afraid. Some of them, they don't even understand their business model. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Which, about franchising, you need to understand your business model for you to be able
I'll have to invite you another day to talk about the panel beating thing. Because I'll tell you, even if we were to do it, it's got nothing to do with government. If the insurance company still insists that we take our cars to Sandton, even though I live in Soweto, then there's a problem. But let's not go there. One last question. A cynical view says franchising is also about putting your money and your sweat to promote somebody else's brand.
It's like you say, it's a cynic. Facts, there are facts out there, Brarams. It depends on how much you want this. If you really want this, you will do absolutely everything to get into the space and succeed.
If they really want it, how do they find you?
Our website, even though it's still under construction, but it's www.franchiseforumza, all small caps, .co.za. And then alternatively, they can follow me. I'm Zweli King Dlomo on social media platforms. And then on Facebook, we've got a Facebook page, Franchise Forumza. This is where we're going to be communicating a lot of information, even on our website. We're going to be working with different municipalities, even provincial government as well, and other partners as well. Like we said, it's not only just for Gauteng people. We've got a plan to roll out nationally.
Zweli Dlomo, co-founder and chief executive of Franchise Forum ZA. The website address, hopefully running soon, www.franchiseforumza.co.za. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Talk with Rams. And do send us your questions, your queries. Ask us to interview you. Write us on Facebook, Talk with Rams, and we shall respond to you.